You know, I once drank a shot glass full of chili sauce for a bet on a night out, and the resulting explosive ejection of liquid fire from my body the next morning was enough to have me praying to the gods of chaos themselves, anything to release me from the torment. But you know what? That was still more fun than watching Supergirl, partly because I won the bet, so at least I made some money out of it, but mostly because at least it was over quickly. Supergirl, on the other hand, stretched out into almost 2 hours of abject misery and boredom, and by golly do you feel it. I was gonna say you feel it by the end, but who am I kidding? I was feeling it after like 20 minutes.
I hate this! It is revolting!
Is it really that bad?
Is everything we all feared it would be.
Holy
and
shit.
More. So much more. A cringy, cliched, tedious mess of dull, lifeless action scenes that we've seen a million times before.
Is that the same thing Superman
that
did?
fucking face, man.
Oh my god. Jesus.
One-dimensional characters with nothing even resembling arcs, the kind of safe, edgy humor that's become the hallmark of these factory-produced superhero flicks, all the usual played-out James Gunnisms that ran their course like half a decade ago, cinematography that looks like someone smeared the results of my chili sauce shot all over the camera lens, and a protagonist who's about as likeable and empathetic as a British politician. In short, Supergirl is a fucking disaster. The wrong movie at the wrong time, based on the wrong source material, made by the wrong people, and starring the wrong actress. But we'll talk.
So it just sucks. Okay, he just hates it.
More about that later.
Oh my god.
Believe that. Anyway, fuck it, let's just do the plot. So a series of flashbacks explain how Kara's father separated a chunk of Krypton called Argo City from the rest of the planet when it got destroyed. But oh no, it also released kryptonite, or something, and everyone's slowly dying of radiation poisoning, so her parents send her and her dog Krypto off to Earth to meet up with Clark. But she's like, nah, I'm too cool for you, and spends most of her time dicking around on planets with red suns so that she can get drunk and party, and look like the kind of girl you'd find passed out in a pool of her own vomit round the back of a nightclub on a Sunday.
Jesus, man. Tell us how you really feel.
Morning.
Oh my god.
Wow, what's an inspirational character. Can't wait to see more of this. So we pick up with Kara celebrating her 23rd birthday by, you guessed it, getting drunk and partying.
Wow.
That's when she meets up with Ruthie, who's out to kill some dickhead named Krem in revenge for murdering her family. But Kara's like, nah, it'll be fine. But it turns out it won't be fine when Krem himself shows up and steals Kara's ship and shoots Krypto with a poison dart that'll kill him in 3 days if he doesn't get an antidote.
Oh my god. Is this real? Like, there's no way, right?
Wow, that was lucky, wasn't it? Lucky the antagonist of the movie just happens to show up right after he's been mentioned. Lucky that he shoots Krypto with a slow-acting poison instead of just vaporizing him or something.
Yeah, why wouldn't you just kill the dog or take the dog with you? Or, I mean, why...
Lucky this all creates the perfect setup for our reluctant hero to join forces with young, strong female character.
Right.
Oh my god.
Anyway, so off they go to track down Krem and his gang of Mad Max rejects, and then Lobo shows up for like 5 minutes to give Jason Momoa something to do. Then they accidentally get an innocent family killed, and Kara gets sick from the green sun on this planet, but then she gets better, and there's a big fight where she stops Ruthie from killing Krem because revenge is bad or something, but then she kills him anyway because she's not your typical superhero, and then she saves Krypto and goes back to Earth because she's decided it's finally worth her attention.
Really? Real? Oh my god. This is what they say whenever they're talking about goy slop.
And that's it. That's the plot for Supergirl.
It's all bullshit.
all of it.
Now, I'd be lying if I said I went into this movie expecting great things from it, but
Nobody
I've got to admit,
was.
I was surprised. And the thing that surprised me most was how fucking shit the writing was.
Yeah?
I mean, the
Is that really
dialogue is
surprising?
exactly what you'd expect from something like this. The usual mix of trite one-liners, desperate attempts at edginess, the kind of cringe meta-humor that can only come from millennial Hollywood writers, and of course those...
I'm so glad that he's calling it out too. Millennial Hollywood writers.
wacky Marvel quips. That's all par for the course in 2026, but it's the story that really lets this movie down.
Yeah.
The plot is nothing but a series of and then coincidences, all strung together with the most flimsy justifications. The characters themselves are just along for the ride. Major events take place and people show up for no other reason than to make the rest of the plot happen. Kara gets sick and weak when she's exposed to a green sun in the second act low point, but then she just gets better when a yellow sun helpfully comes out. There's no particular trial she has to go through, no lessons learned, no difficult...
Do you remember what I said before about this is the reason why they're unable to write good female characters? Is because they're unable to give female characters any sort of genuine observable flaws because they don't want to portray women as being problematic or weak or bad. So this is what happens is that you have all of these different, movies where they're unable to make a compelling or an interesting female character because they don't want to make the female character problematic or weak or anything like that. There's no hero's journey.
choices to make.
There's no
the plot
character
says that
arc.
it's time for
There's
the big
nothing.
final battle, so it happens. Lobo shows up out of nowhere for like 5 minutes because he looks cool and the script needed some fan service and everyone
Yeah.
likes Jason Momoa. And he does exactly what he always does, plays Jason Momoa. Honestly
Yeah.
though, you could cut him right out of this movie and everything would play out exactly the same. In fact, I'm pretty convinced that the bulk of his scenes were added in post-production. Krem
So
is
they just had him go in there and just do a few dumb things, and are like, "Oh, guys will like this. Maybe it'll get guys to actually watch this movie." Then Zombieland is a good example of what they need to do. Well, yeah, and I think that generally, like, what happens is that these movies, like, I have to say it, is that superhero movies post Endgame are goy slop. They absolutely are goy slop. Like, some of the original ones were really good, but now they are just garbage. They're all so bad. Cape shit, they are.
just a generic bad guy who does bad stuff because, fuck it, who even cares? He's just
Nobody
there to give
gives
the
a
rest
shit.
of the characters something to do. There's no real substance to him, no big overarching plan or hidden justification for what he's doing. He's just a space pirate crossed with Mad Max. His death means nothing because his life meant nothing either. Jesus, who wrote this shit? Oh yeah, Anna Nogueira, a former TV actress whose writing credits amount to fuck all. I mean, literally, the only thing I could find about her was We Win.
Wait, so she wrote Supergirl and she only had one other thing that she had wrote previously, and it was in 2018? Is this real?
A micro-budget short film from 8 years ago about a couple's relationship that unravels during a game of Mafia.
What?
Oh yeah, that totally justifies putting her in charge of a $200 million superhero blockbuster. You're seriously telling me you couldn't find anyone better qualified for this job than a failed actress who aged out of the industry with precisely one screenwriting credit to her name? Fuck off, James Gunn. Honestly, I'm
Why would you do that?
surprised you didn't cast your own wife in this just so you could watch her get railed by Lobo. Then there's Kara...
This story was based on a comic book? Well, yeah, but you have to be able to adapt it in a way that makes sense, right? I feel like that's kind of how you're supposed to do things.
herself, who's apparently based on the not particularly popular Tom King run of comic books, which helpfully ignore half a century of character development to paint Kara as a cringy punk rock anti-hero.
I hate this.
I mean, I
Supergirl
can't say
was
I'm
supposed to be an
surprised, to be
anti-hero?
honest.
What?
That little cameo she got at the end of Superman already told us what kind of an annoying arsehole she was gonna
Yeah.
be.
Thanks for watching him, bitch!
I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
Not since
And that is so accurate, because really the reason why I think people dislike this so much is that we all probably know at least one Foyd in our lives that thinks that she's the main character and that her life is a movie and that behaves this way in real life. And it's so insufferable and annoying And now you have to watch it in a movie. I don't like it. I don't think a lot of people do.
The Marvels have I liked a main character less than this
Try
one.
10?
There's this weird
Yeah.
feeling of mild desperation throughout the whole movie where they're trying so hard not to make her a Mary Sue that she just comes across as an annoying bitch who doesn't care about anything or anyone but herself. You know the
Oh, I guess it must have been a self-insert.
kind of girl who flips the bird with a mildly pissed off expression in every single picture she ever takes because she really needs you to know how much cooler she is than you? Well, that's basically Kara in this movie. It's horseshoe theory projected onto characterization, where going far enough away from something ends up looping you right back to where you started. An insufferable arsehole. They're trying so hard to paint her as this jaded, cynical, world-weary pragmatist who's tried and failed to be a hero and just wants to be left alone now, but it doesn't fucking work because she's like 23 years old. This is the
Yeah, you can't do that for a young female character because obviously they're not going to have the same experience as somebody. Like, the reason why that works for a Jason Statham movie is because Jason Statham is like 50 years old. So, like, it makes sense that, you know, or like John Wick, you know, he's like 50 years old. So it makes sense that that's what's happening. But, like, you can't go and do this for, you know, some random young girl. It's another goy flop.
the kind of thing you do with a 50-year-old man, not some young girl who's just
How about that?
starting out. Like,
How
the
about
fuck can you
that?
have a life of regrets when you've barely even lived a life to begin with? If they had to do some kind of anti-hero arc with her, they should have made her this rebellious, energetic, loose cannon who acts first and thinks later, convinced that she can help everyone, only to discover real life is more complicated than just...
They're not going to do that. They would never do that because it would make her look stupid and it could overlap with existing female negative stereotypes. So they would never do that. And that's the problem with a lot of this media, is that the media is written inside of the context of existing stereotypes and cultural norms. So, like, they're never going to make a woman look weak or stupid or, anything like that. Anything that could make it look like a woman is inferior to a man. A lot of stereotypes exist for a reason. Yeah, of course they do.
punching the bad guy.
True.
You have to show us the fall so that we can cheer for the rise. Ultimately, for all the hype and controversy swirling around it, Supergirl is nothing but a depressingly bleak, horrible-looking, uninspired, generic superhero movie whose only USP turns out to be its biggest weakness. Yes, young women really can be messy, self-absorbed failures, but here's
Wait, young women can be messy, self-absorbed failures? I need a movie to tell me that? That's crazy.
the thing this movie doesn't really get. They probably shouldn't. It's a movie that no one seemed particularly excited for, pushing a character no one cares about in a cinematic universe that's barely started but already seems to be in its death throes. And well, Supergirl is nothing but another nail in the coffin.
Man.
Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
I'll tell you that this is a good video. Make sure to give it a like. I watch Critical Drinker videos all the time. I think they're really, really good. And I feel like in general, like it's so obnoxious and annoying. It's the same fem slop that we got with Captain Marvel. It is. And it's always the same. You're always going to get the same annoying, fucking repetitive garbage. And I don't think they're ever going to make a good character like this that's good. Like Brett said, Snow White 2.0. This isn't like Snow White because nobody cares about Supergirl to begin with. A lot of people care about Snow White because it was a really popular, animated film. But Supergirl, it's just like random, and who cares what's going on with any of this, right? It doesn't matter. And what is this? And once you notice this, you want to go back in any movie. Disclosure Day does this too. Yeah, first Disney princess. It's like a big thing. But like Supergirl is always just like, what if Superman was a girl, right? Superman, Supergirl. Wow, that's amazing. Like She-Hulk. Like they're not even, in a lot of these cases, like I know that the characters were like developed more later on, but like they're not even really their own character. They're basically just like, what if the male character was a girl? And I don't think anybody gives a shit about that. Like, it doesn't even matter. Check White House Twitter. Or do you want me to look at again? You want me to see the fucking where was it? The them making some post about, I don't even know what this is. Some post about Destiny. I already saw that before. People did this to the Tom King comic. This killed their comic franchise. Maybe they will if she's hot, which historically she was depicted as super hot. Yeah, I mean, I think that again. I feel like the actress, I mean, she's attractive, but I would say like Gal Gadot playing Wonder Woman for the first movie. I mean, she was really, really hot, and so that's the way I see it.